Welcome to 1111, which is a segment from my podcast where I talk about a topic for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Today's topic is actually creator's block, which is something that some of your favorite, people, some of your favorite artists, some of your favorite whoever, even me, get creator's block. Just whatever someone who creates something. It can be like cakes, it can be poetry, it can be creating whatever it is, clothing, um, whatever it is. You will probably suffer one day. Hopefully not, knock on wood. Actually, okay, creator's block is something that comes in waves, and I feel like it's something so normal. But it is something very, very, very annoying because it's I don't know. I feel like it's sort of like a balance. It's like the body's natural form of telling you to create balance. Because if we were always at 100% creating, we would have never, experienced different types of um, media. We wouldn't experience different types of emotions. We wouldn't know when to put something down and learn something new. So I feel like creator's block is something good. It's kind of like your body or your brain or your mind or whoever telling you to be like, slow down, dog. Take a break. It's never that serious. And just really focusing on other things. I feel like for me, I get these in waves. And I think I'm recently in one. I feel like I'm recently in a creator's block right now. Which is kind of funny to me because uh I was thinking so hard of like what to do in 1111 about. I was like, what can I possibly do this episode about? Like I just my brain went blank, and I was like, don't overthink stuff. Like focus, not focus, but look at the big picture. And I feel like something that helps me is remind yourself why you started this. Remind yourself the whole, part of this. And for me, I was like, it's like, what am I going through right now? Like, what emotions, what feelings am I going through right exactly now? And, I was like, creator's block. That's really what this is. So, I got the brain juices flowing a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, let's create, what it is for me. Like, what is creator's block for me? What is like, can we turn it into a positive? Because I always try to see, the positive connotation to things because it's always helpful. It's never nice to be negative, especially when it comes to your brain. When it's something that like your brain is making, is creating or whatever, it's never nice to be mean to your brain because it's really out of, like it's your brain, it's your body, it's your mind. Like I don't think it's cool to be mean to those things. So if we can find a positive in creator's block, that would be nice. So I feel like that's kind of like what the journey is for today. Like what positive is there in getting creator's block? There's so many negatives, like, oh, maybe stuff gets delayed, or maybe stuff, you don't reach either your full potential because you're not 100% there, and that's totally okay. um I feel like some positives of creator's block is you're taking a break. Like you have to turn it into a positive because naturally I feel like it's already negative, so we have to actually turn it into a positive. Like, okay, well, I'm currently, going through a creator's block. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to not put out, lousy art or lousy whatever it is, and actually take the break and refocus, do the yoga, do the meditation, do the hiking, do the drugs, do whatever to help you, get your juices. Well, actually, no, I'm not telling you to do drugs. I'm not, that's not, I'm not telling you to do that. But what I'm getting at is do whatever gets your juices flowing. And whatever it is, maybe it's, doing breathing exercises, maybe it's doing the splits, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's journaling, whatever it is. Like some things that help me is, going outside, um journaling, because sometimes like your brain is foggy, I feel like, through creator's block, and like it journaling and actually, like organizing your brain can make room for the creativity to flow through. talking to a friend, whether it be about your creativity, whether it be about what you're going through, whatever it is, talk to someone who you know will understand where you're coming from and is kind of like a good ear. But also consuming different sorts of media. Like you can get inspired by consuming a different form of media that you enjoy. Like, they say like the best podcasters listen to podcasts, the best writers read the most books, the best, whatever it is. You're able to consume different sources of media and get inspired and pull motivation from other people, and like piggyback on their opinions or double down or whatever it is. That's also like important to do because we we're only so much as a human, and I feel like we can only do so much. That if we don't go outside, if we don't explore, if we don't read, if we don't listen, if we don't watch, I feel like that's opening your mind to so many different things, and it allows you to create so many different things as well. But I genuinely feel like I have been going through a little bit of a creator's block. Not something super crazy of like I can't post, I can't do anything, but to a point where I try not to look at numbers. I try not to look at how many people have engaged or how many people have listened or how many people have watched. That's like the worst thing to do when you're going through a creator's block. That's like absolutely the worst thing to do because you're not focusing on your art. I feel like we have to go back to where we started. Like, why did we ever start this journey? And I feel like that's like your foundation. That's where you're gonna start building up from there. Like, okay, I started this because I wanted to, share my story. I wanted to help other people like me. I wanted to record my existence. I wanted to, have something look back to when I was older and be like, oh, I did this and I did that and I thought this way, but now I think this way. Or have people be able to relate to some of my stories, or have people text me or DM me or whatever it is, being like, I really connected to this episode, and I feel like just creating a safe space. And it's all about like being transparent as well. I think obviously, I'm not incredibly transparent with like there's privacy in my life, and that's beautiful to me. But creating some sort of like, this is what I'm going through, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm pretty 100% sure I'm not the only human that's ever felt this way. But I think allowing yourself the grace to be like, I'm only human. We're not in a time crunch. We're not in competition. We're not racing. We're not, fighting. I mean, there are people who, in some cases, I feel like for me, if like I didn't post all of the times, or if I didn't record, or if I didn't whatever, people will lose interest. But I think some people are chasing a different thing, other like apart. I think they're just chasing like fame or whatever it is. I feel like when you take time to actually create something that you like and you enjoy, and you're actually enjoying what you're making, that's a different type of fulfillment, and that's a different type of even success. But when you just rush and put out everything and just whatever, people are going to notice that, and you're not going to be happy. You're gonna get burnt out. Like, if you don't take the break from creator's block, you're gonna be burnt out. And I feel like I'm literally talking to myself because I sometimes will, struggle with doing things, and I'll be like, no, I have to do this and I have to do that. But then I'm like, you really don't. Like, take your time. I'm pretty sure whoever watches this will, enjoy it when it gets there. And it's honestly like, it's never that serious. Like, there's extremely more serious things going on in this world than my silly podcast and my silly YouTube, right? But that's just my life, and that's just like what I like to do and like what I like to share. But I feel like giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to take time and to not rush your art is really important, and especially when you're going through creator's block. Always surround yourself with people who inspire you, and with people who give you some sort of like motivation. This is totally different out of like creator's block. Like, unmotivation is kind of also some form of creator's block. Like, you don't feel motivated. I feel like I haven't been motivated to go to the gym, and I don't know necessarily know why. I think it's because it's been snowing lately, and like the snow is just horrible. Like, ugh. But we also have to learn how to love the snow. But I think it's. I think we'll be okay. I think if we were able to create beautiful art, there's nothing stopping us from creating it again. Like I said before, I feel like that's just the body and mind's way of telling us to take a break, go outside, touch some grass, do whatever, do some yoga, do some stretches, hang out with people who inspire you, read, consume different sources of media is really important to me. That allows me to get motivated, and it allows me to get my brain flowing, and my opinions and my ideas or whatever it is. I feel like that's really important, and I think that's one of the main causes that allows me to get out of my creator's block is being like, all right, I'm gonna step outside, I'm gonna do something different, I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone so I can actually learn, and I can actually do something different that helps me create again and create beautiful art again. But I love you. Just know, if we created beautiful art, we can do it again. Give yourself space. Bye.